Hey everybody, it's me Erica, and I am here to show you the archival method of finishing a piece of artwork because I'm going to frame this piece of artwork. Please don't be alarmed by the artwork, it's not exactly pretty. It's my dad's birthday gift. His birthday is Christmas Day. It is from the Stephen King movie adaptation of his first horror comic book called Creepshow. And this is Upson Pratt, who's one of the characters from that show. So what you'll need is, this is archival foam board. It's not great to cut without a mat cutter, but I don't have one out recently. So it's acid free. The paper will not react with any of the ink or the fabrics that you use. So it's important that it says archival, or it will say acid free foam core. This is the way they would frame your piece at a professional framer or at an archivist if you were trying to preserve it. You will also need these, which are stainless steel flathead pins. You can get a whole jar of them really cheap on Amazon. They're used for all kinds of stuff, but they need to be stainless steel specifically so that they won't rust. God forbid something ever gets humid. I put them out on a tray. I also had some tape, which I will get because it's nice to have a little bit of tape to help. Okay, so I have a little bit of tape left here. This is just masking tape. You can get acid-free masking tape and actually use that to finish the back of yours. I don't think this is my contractor grade. I see it right here on the label that this is not archival tape. So don't use things that aren't archival tape on your projects. That I'm going to just temporarily. I'll go find the archival tape to finish the back. But what you want to do, and this is also a great way if you want to frame something in particular. It's a really nice way to do it because now you can shove this into any frame once it's finished off. So what I'm going to do, I've already cut this to 5 by 5, which is ideally what I should have here. You want the top edge, at least, to be the cleanest, nicest one, not the one that you hacked to death with a box cutter that wasn't sharp enough, which is what I did. So I have 2 nice edges. I'm going to focus on those. I didn't iron out the edges. It's Christmas Eve, and the project's due tomorrow, folks, so we're going with it. So you want to center it up on here and kind of make sure your corners are in the same place, at least. And because this edge isn't nice, this is going to be my wonky edge, will be this one. But I want to make sure that it's at least centered on the board. And make sure that I have this not quite off the edge. So you can kind of go by feel when you don't have a perfectly square edge. And then I'm just going to tack it with a little piece of tape for the moment. Just for a second, and then I'm going to kind of actually stretch it against that tape gently because we don't want it pulling it, because you're pulling technically only from one area. You could add more tape if you liked to hold it in place, and I might right here because I'm tugging on that a little too hard. So I'm going to add another little piece of tacking tape right here. Okay, so I like that top edge better now. That's fine. And I want to at least get the bottom edge on because I think I have this, it's a little too far over on one side. That's a little better. So I want to make sure I have it kind of centered where I want it that way. And my board is just a little big. Cut my board just a little big. So I'm going to have to move this down just a little bit and adjust. That's why we do it this way, so we're not pinning and unpinning, because once you start pinning, you kind of start degrading the foam a little bit as far as its like ability to continue to bounce back. So I just scooched that down a tiny bit. Let's see how that looks. A little uneven. So we need to take this part back a little bit. And because I used 2 layers of fabric, that's a little better. it's also just, it's not going to be quite perfect. Also, I'm not a professional archival framer, so, you know, we're all doing our best here. I'm comfortable with that, because once I push the pins in, it's going to square it up a little more. It's just the quality of my cut on this side that we're really running into an issue here. So I'm going to give that a nice tight tug here to make sure it's good and stretched equally. Ooh, oh God, I almost bent the corner. Lord God. This is why you pay people to do this. If you have any sense or money. I don't have either. So, okay. All right. Oh my God, no pin. Thank you. Okay. So that looks pretty darn good. Yeah, I'm okay with that. And of course, it's way too far over. Can I slide you a little bit? Oh my God. Actually, I could. I could slide him a little bit. Oh, saved it. Okay, we're gonna call that good. Okay, so I'm gonna stick one pin on each of these sides to keep it centered while I'm doing the rest of it. So I kind of pin it down on itself. And these are really easy to shove in, but you want to just do it once. You don't want to be doing it, removing them all the time. And you want to try and stick it in square. So think about going straight through, because if you deviate, it's going to stab you through your thumb, or it's going to stab you through your finger. So try to push it straight down. That was good. And then I'm going to just put one next to it, a little ways away. Obviously, the more of these you do, the more secure it is, but also the more you destroy the foam core. So you're piercing the foam core and turning it into confetti in there on the inside. Okay, and then we'll leave this one. Give it a good tug. Also a good time to go over your project and pull off all the schmutz and cat hair that you've gotten on there. Okay, so just the center again, and this is the clean edge, so we know that this edge is pretty and it'll come out nice and crisp. So push it in there. If you ever need to get these back out, a tweezer is a much better idea, but maybe some of you don't have a connective tissue disorder that makes your fingernails just like rip like paper, because mine do. You can see how good my fingers look after a couple of days of baking. Okay, so we got 3 pins in each side to keep it square, and I don't think that one went through. Okay, now we can go to the top and do the same thing, and I'm just going to use my fingers to pull that edge nice and tight, and ignore the tape on the back, because now you've got it. That's just to center it. It's not to hold it nicely or anything like that. It's just to center it while you get yourself set up. 1. And you want to go around like this so that it's not pulling in any one direction, kind of like when you put on a car tire. You tighten it in a star pattern, or at least alternate, so that you don't over tighten one area. Okay, and then we'll flip it. And then again, I'm going to use my hand, not the tape, to rely on. Get the cat and dog hair off. Somehow I bring dog hair home from every dog that I go past. You can't ever escape the dog hair. Okay, hopefully you guys can still see that okay. I moved too far back. I'm not paying attention to my camera at the same time. Okay, get a couple in here. And we know that this isn't our pretty edge, so we don't want to mash anything too much. Okie dokie. There we go. Okay, so we've got the first ones in, and now we can just kind of go nuts and work our way to the edges. I'll kind of do a little and a little, a little and a little, and work my way around. So I will time lapse through that so it doesn't take quite so long. I hope this was helpful, and I will be back in a second to show you what I'm going to do on the back. Okay, so there's kind of a couple ways we can finish the ends when we get to them. One way, I'm not sure which way you could see this best. Let's see if I can zoom in without launching the light off the table. So once we come right up to the edge here, you can see that we'll get kind of a weird shape. And what I've seen other archivists do, granted they're working off a perfectly square canvas, is they'll take this guy, once these are all pinned of course, right up to the edge, and pull it to a diagonal like this, going towards the middle, and then you fold down this one to finish it. I don't know that that will work for us because I use double fabric, but it might. All right, let's go back to finishing the little guys off here with pins. Okay, so we're going to do our best to finish this like they would finish the corner of a canvas, which is basically what we've done here. We've stretched a canvas, which is why it takes so long. So remember, we fold in, and we're starting with a square edge. So I came right up to the edge on the good edge, which is the top. This is the icky edge, which can take some punishment here. So we're going to fold in for this guy, bring this one to a 45-degree angle, which normally I'm pretty sure you would put a staple in right there. We don't have that. And then we pull this guy straight down. Let's see what that does to the front. Yeah, it does make kind of a big knot. Will anyone notice? No. But I think we'll just finish this one ugly style, which means we're just going to cut a perfect little square out of the corner. That actually made a really nice little square imprint for me, to be perfectly honest. And you don't want to cut all the way to your sewing. You can leave kind of a semi-wonky edge. And that's why these little pattern cutting scissors with the razor tips are so handy. You just get right in there. Okay, so now I can pull this guy down nice and square there. And then I'll probably end up just slapping a little piece of tape on that. Archival tape. Acid-free. Acid-free only. You also may run into the problem because you're going, the pins are going crossways as well as up and down. You may run into bumping into other pins, but don't be alarmed. Just kind of feed around them, and you can pinch the board and feel if your needle is about to pop out the side, which is handy. You can also add a little dab of fabric glue, which is non-permanent fabric glue, or just PVA, like white school glue, is very easy for archivists to remove. All right, so we're just going to finish off the rest of that and tape it up, and I think that'll be it. Okay, now because this is just going in the back of nowhere and no one will ever see it, I don't feel super guilty about just throwing some archival tape on, because no one's gonna see it as long as it's nice and taut. That was not ideal. Okay, let's do these guys first. Get this guy pulled down. Just a little snippy snap of tape. There's a million kinds of archival tape. Whatever you find sticks best to fabric is what you should use. This one came from somewhere. No idea. Found in a box of art supplies of unknown origin. But it truly won't matter for about 15 years how you frame your pieces. And then all of a sudden, you'll be looking at something one day, and you'll go, why does that look like it's a completely different color than when I purchased it, or when I made it? So I'm going to fold these corners in like I'm folding a package. Oh, see, look, there's a good example of your needle coming right out the side. Whoops. You know what? I'm going to leave it. Nobody's perfect. So I'm going to book fold, or kind of corner fold that in and bring it down. And remember, that was not my pretty square corner. That was a wonky corner to start with. It's bending in my hand. Okay, fold it in like a present. Make it pretty. And again, no one's going to see it because you're going to frame it. So there's not much to worry about in that department. Tack it down. A little tack right here, even though it's not, because this is mounted. Like, all of this doesn't matter if it's loose, because this is already tight. It's already stretched. So your funky edges do no longer apply or matter at this point, because the whole front is pretty and stretched. And you can get this to fit, oops, no, you don't need a pin. You can get these to fit in any size frame you want, and just buy, probably the cheapest size of board is 8x10 for bulk. I bought like 100 pack 5 years ago, and I still haven't gone through it. Mostly because I mount things in hoops, but that's neither here nor there. Okay, and here we go. All done. Maybe one more piece in the middle. And though someone who is a professional would do probably a better job or a tidier job, they would be doing most of the same steps that we just did together. So good job, everybody. They probably wouldn't have cut the corners, but that's fine. Again, nobody's going to see it. So anyway, I will be back to show you how this monstrosity turns out. And here's the big reveal. With all the dead cockroaches, they're fake. Hard to see with the ring light, but he was an obsessive compulsive who had like a stainless steel home. So I went for like a faux mirrored backing. And then we have our little stretched canvas there. And the bugs. And the sound bite chip should be coming because that needed to be on there. And if I get that done before Christmas, I will show you that too. But thanks for coming to my TED Talk about how to stretch things archivally.
I've got this bug problem. Once you get bugs, you never get rid of them. Breed in the crawl spaces, in the conduits, the very core of the building itself.